Hi, Atul Gopal from Plug-in India and welcome to the Plug-in India classroom. And today we're going to be talking about something which most of you have been reading a lot in the newspapers about and wondering, is it good, is it bad? We talk about people who've adopted it. We talk about people who've not adopted it and try to find out why, what is happening. So the Department of Heavy Industry issued a notification way back in September 2020 about the subsidy and about the localization. So the localization deadline that was given was 1st April 2021 and the department had listed a set of components that had to be localized. It's a long list and I'm going to read part of that list to you. Wheel rim and hub motor, DC-DC converter, electronic throttle, vehicle control unit, on-board charger, traction motor, motor controller, instrument panel, lighting, headlamp, tail lamp, indicator lamp, interior lamp, flashers, body panels. Does that leave anything outside the purview? I don't know. We are in the middle of June right now. 1st April has come, 1st April has gone and deadlines seem to have been extended. So there are a lot of vendors for most of the parts, but what we hear from industry sources is the problem is in the plastics. Because of the very small size of the market, because of the very high number of models in this small sized market, the economic viability to produce plastic parts, to invest in molds is not there. So companies continue to import out of China, and till a time that we get a mass scale manufacturer with mass scale volumes, I don't think that trouble can be sorted out. So we're pretty sure that the likes of Hero Electric with the volumes that they have can invest in molds, but our worry is the large number of small players who may not have the financial capacity to do that. In the link that you will see in the description of this video, you will find the website of the FAME2 subsidy, and there will be certain models which have got an asterisk or a star next to them. Now these are models which used to have the subsidy, but because of non-compliance with localization, the subsidy has now been removed. So you may want to watch out that space. So let's start with a few companies that have got a price reduction announced because of the FAME subsidy. The first company that comes to mind is Ather. Ather for a fact is kind of really fairly well localized, although whether their vendors are importing directly and selling it to these guys, we don't know. But as far as the government of India is concerned, if Mahle is importing it from Germany, adding a little bit of stuff to it and selling it in turn to Ather, it's considered as localization. So I guess that's kind of following the letter of the law but not the spirit of the law, but nevertheless we will not comment too much on that. So Ather has got the localization game in place and they are amongst the first to announce a price reduction. So for the top end 450X model, it's more than a 40,000 price reduction, which is humongous. Next is the big baby Hero. So they also have their price reductions in place, and suddenly their 100 kilometer models are very, very attractive. So you got 3 models in Hero which we would recommend. One is the NYX, next is the Optima, and the third is the Photon. All 3 are great models and they've seen significant price reductions. Dealerships are telling us that there's a huge demand that has come in for these models now. And we are also told that the company is actually serious about their localization efforts and are making huge amount of investments in making their own battery packs, etc., etc. And next is on the list is Ampere, Coimbatore based, and they have again got significant price reductions on the 2 high speed models that they have, which is the Zeal and the Magnus Pro. The other three companies which we would want to kind of pass through is, one is of course Big Daddy TVS, who has seen a fair amount of reduction in the sole electric model that they have, iQube. And you also have Okinawa, which has announced, it's got 3 high-speed models and price reductions have been announced in all of them. So the most expensive model is less than 1 lakh now, which used to be 1,20,000 or something like that, right? And finally, you have Revolt. So the price reduction has been announced, but there is no stock. Bookings are over. So my guess is that if these companies are able to meet the deadline, then they will not have the star against them, right? But if they are not, and if you see stars coming up against their names on the FAME2 website, it means that there is trouble and the subsidy ends after 6 months time, right? So I think, like they say in the consumer goods industry, offer open till stocks last. Okay, so let's now move on to the two big boys, at least, okay, one big boy, one small boy, right, who have decided not to go in for the subsidy, right? And number one big boy on the list is our Pune friend Bajaj Auto Limited, right? So they've taken a conscious decision to not take or go in for the FAME2 subsidy. I think that they are still in the process of getting the battery in place, because like Revolt, Bajaj opened their bookings for the Chetak for a very short window by invitation. All the people who visited the showroom were given that invitation. There was no advertising, right? And bookings opened and bookings closed. So they probably have about a waiting list, or they got a production list of about 10,000, right? And the logic is we don't want to sell at losses. They've increased their prices. They've not announced any subsidy after that. So they are assuming that they will be able to kind of make some amount of profits at the price that they have currently, right? And they are not worried too much about the FAME subsidy at this point of time, because they are definitely not going to do any hanky-panky which a lot of the small players could do. Yeah. So next we have our, in front of David, we also have got Mr. Goliath here giving company Pure AV, our Hyderabad based friends who've taken a conscious call not to go in for the FAME subsidy. And there have been a lot of calls that Nishant, the CEO, has received from a lot of dealers, from a lot of buyers, from a lot of government officials also, and to the extent that Pure EV has come out with a statement about what is the rationale for them not going in for the FAME subsidy, and it would be very interesting to go through that statement. So let's do that now. So the first thing that he says is that as far as the specifications required for FAME2 are concerned, the company is compliant, they've got the right speeds, they've got the right acceleration, right? So the models are compliant, right? Now where is the problem? The problem is with obviously localization. Now one of the things that the company claims that it has done is that they have done a lot of work in trying to identify the right vendors across the globe, and it takes a lot of proving for you to be able to kind of get the vendors right, get the quality right, and that's what gives you the range and the power, right? So by forcing a company to go in for a local supplier whose quality is a question mark, correct, the end day of the thing is that the customer is going to suffer, right? So that's the company's main argument. An Indian vendor for motors, and the moment that motors was fitted onto the vehicle, the range saw a drastic drop by about 30 kilometers or so, right? So now the question in front of an Indian company is, would you want customer adoption to get slower because of issues like poor range, which is one of the biggest bottlenecks for adoption? Or would you want to take a hit on your localization and say, okay, let's kind of do it for some time, let's identify critical parts which will take more time to get localized, and let's not get forced by the government to decide how to run our company. And I think to that extent Nishant ji has a very valid point. And we've had the same point also coming across from the folks at Bajaj Auto, who say ki let the government run the government and let the companies run the companies, because I don't really think you can look at a MITI kind of Japanese model here in India. So the other argument that Pure EV has taken is that the big daddies of the IC engine world, the Bajaj, the Heros, the Marutis, are still importing components. So why is the EV small guy being singled out for stopping imports, right? It's just like saying my father smokes a cigarette and I also need to smoke one. Not done. Now, we are a bit saddened by this stand that the company has taken for two reasons. One, it means that you can keep on delaying the inevitable ad infinitum, right? So where is the cutoff point going to come where you say, hey, I got enough scale now to do local production, right? I think the government in its arbitrariness has got some sense, right? That finally you have to take a call at some point of time whether you're going to get local vendors or not. If there is a temporary dip in quality, I'm sure the customers will live with it. So we've seen Pune based cycle manufacturers like Feliday who have not got any FAME subsidy, yet they are making their own motors, they are making their own battery packs, right? And I'm sure that a company like Pure can take a step in that direction very soon, right? So another thing that Pure management is worried about is the kind of compliance related issues. So we already know that the track record as far as compliance is concerned is not too great. Now, of course, part of the reason for the track record not being too great is because I think the rules have been designed by bureaucrats who never got outside their air conditioned cars. So a low speed vehicle at 25 kmph limit just is not workable. It does not take the load of two people and go up gradients. Sir, it doesn't work. Correct? Low speed needs to be redefined at 40 kmph until the time that the government continues to maintain, sitting in its ivory tower, that low speed definition is at 25 kmph for two wheelers, right? You will always have people who are kind of going to go take shortcuts, bribe people, and get the permissions for vehicles which are at 40 kmph classified as low speed vehicles. So that's of course for the government to worry about. But even about the FAME subsidy, the kind of paperwork that is involved, the kind of mandates that the government is giving is so extensive that it gives the bureaucrats immense power, correct, and a huge scope for corruption also, right? So whether you consciously want to get into that trap or not, I think there I would say Pure has taken a slightly ethical high stand, and I would kind of laud them for that, right? That if you think that there is a scheme which is ridden with loopholes right at the start, correct, would you want to waste your energies in trying to fill up those loopholes and kind of get around it, or would you kind of do things that you are good at, which is making vehicles? The next point is about the operational profitability of companies. Now, obviously, there are very, very well funded companies like Ather who received hundreds of crores in funding, and for whom it does not matter, whether you're making a profit per vehicle or not, although they are trying hard, right? But in the long term, if you want a sustainable electric vehicle industry, then the industry has to make profits, right? Now, if I were to digress a little bit and take the analogy of the GST, right? We've seen that a lot of states have got handicapped because they are now dependent on central doles for running their state, right? So this has taken away the autonomy of a lot of the financial decisions that individual state governments would be doing ordinarily. And if the same thing happens because of subsidies, now it's a big subsidy, mind you. For if you're giving a subsidy of 15,000 rupees per kWh, and you have a 2 kWh battery, which a lot of vehicles do, so that means 30,000 rupees is being paid by the government, which is much more than your profit margin on the vehicle. So obviously you are going to be begging in front of bureaucrats for the money to come in, right? And I think that can be a very, very big diversion in the focus for a lot of automobile manufacturers, where the legal department becomes much stronger than the quality department. There is a saying in the English language which says that if you're staying in a glass house, you don't throw stones at others. right? So there's a little bit of muck raking that I think that the Pure EV team has ended up doing, of course without naming names, but it's very obvious to everyone who reads that document, right? But I would suggest that, you know, I don't really think it's fair on the company's part to kind of point fingers, because with the kind of complicated laws that India has, I don't think there is a single person in this country who is kind of a total law abider. So I think Pure has taken a call not to go in with FAME, respect them for it. Will they suffer in terms of sales? I'm not too sure. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, right? But it's a fact that they need to be ready with their own arsenal of low speed two-wheelers, because that's not under FAME subsidy in any case, and there are a lot of people who are interested in driving low speed two-wheelers. So I would recommend that the company kind of, you know, was thinking of ditching a lot of the low speed models and going in for more of the high speed ones. Probably they need to take a pause on that process and kind of relook that particular part of the strategy. Now I think there is a valid criticism that they have in implementation. Now we saw the FAME 1 subsidy, which was given for a total of 17,000 vehicles only in the year or two that it was in existence, right? So you had budgeted for a lot more, yet you gave very little. So is this just a public relations stunt on part of the government? Is FAME 2 going to go the same way as FAME 1? We'll wait and watch. We hope it doesn't happen that way. But in conclusion, my advice to the government would be stay out of subsidies. You're doing a great job with petrol prices. Make it 200 rupees a litre and nobody will ask for FAME subsidies anymore. Thank you very much. Right. So that was the end of the classroom on subsidy. So the question to you viewers is, what do you think is right? Would you go ahead and buy those vehicles with subsidy? Do you think it's fair on the part of Pure EV kind of guys to not take that subsidy? Right? Please put in your comments below, and we'd look forward to kind of responding to them soon.